Guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, the Idaho murders case is sort of pretty much indefinitely on hold for a new trial date. Seems like that's the new thing with all these big cases. As we know, Delphi just got also put on hold. It's in the air as far as when we're going to see a trial. That said, something strange, well, sort of strange happened last week. The FBI decided to return to 1122 King Road, and do some more work with creating a 3D model with their Faro equipment, which I find a little odd. There's explanations that have been put out, and some of them sort of make sense, but then, of course, there's been all kinds of debate on if the house was safe, and the biggest problem is, remember, the university now owns this home. And remember the whole debacle over getting it demolished. If it wasn't for the families, specifically Kaylee Gonzalez's family, for the most part, the house would probably be nothing right now. And there wouldn't even be anything for the FBI to document.
Brian, we were just so incredibly close multiple times to that house coming down. I thought it was a misprint when I read what I read this morning.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you said it, Ashley. The family trusted their guts. They have been fighting and fighting and fighting for this house not to be torn down. And all the experts on the case there in Idaho were telling them they were crazy. The prosecution signed off on the demolition. The defense signed off on the demolition. The University of Idaho has sure been in a hurry to tear that house down. Well, guess what? The house didn't get taken down right away, and there they were, back there today. You had the new video. We had exclusive video. It wasn't just a couple of FBI agents, Ashley, going in and out. It was an entire team. For whatever reason, they decided they needed to remap out the house to build this model that they planned to build. They had all sorts of specialized equipment out there today, 3D imaging machines. They had a drone up over the house. None of this would have been possible if the original plans had gone through. And you said it, it wasn't just one plan, it was over and over again that the university and the prosecution wanted to tear the house down. And thank goodness that the family, the Gonzalez family particularly, kept fighting, because obviously police found value in going back in the house today.
Exactly. Again, if we would have had this house torn down, there would be nothing for the FBI to map. And remember, they told us that they had everything that they needed. If this was going to go to trial like it was supposed to right now, they wouldn't have this ability to go back out there with this great special equipment, map the home again, which it sounds like they're just trying to add on to their original mapping so that their 3D model can be, actually they can make an actual model, because from what I understand, it takes months and months for them to create these 3D models from this Faro equipment, which is all fine and good, but it's just so funny to me, and obviously to News Daddy Brian Enton here in Banfield, and the whole thing about how, wow, they were so adamant, to demolish this home. Oh, we are done. The state says we don't need it anymore. The defense says we don't need it anymore. And if it wasn't for the family, mostly the Gonzalez family, pushing for this to stay up, at least for the time being, there'd be nothing. So I think, as far as on the university side of things, I think the reason they wanted to tear it down is because it's a visual memory of this horrific event. And let's be honest, as much as they want to remember and honor the Idaho 4, the 4 victims, for them it's all about, bringing in these students and this money. So having this quote unquote, I hate to say it, but murder house so close to campus, it hurts. It hurts them, financially, and they would like to get rid of it and build a memorial, whatever, there, and move on with things. And I mean, I'm not saying they're not trying to honor the victims, but they definitely wanted to get rid of this home. I mean, they were very, very adamant on that for sure.
So, Gigi, jump in on what Brian just said. Obviously, they saw value in going back in. I don't understand how 12 months later they can just now be seeing the value of going back in to take these measurements. The house has not changed. Everything is exactly the same, and there was meticulous investigation that went on for months.
Yeah, they did some measurements in that initial investigation, but the difference is that everything was still in the house. So what the FBI did, thank goodness they didn't tear it down. You can't put toothpaste back in a tube. Once it's down, it's down. But the house is empty at this point, and now you have this trial delayed indefinitely. These models take months to put together to get all the data analyzed. So the FBI thought it's a good time, with the trial being delayed, to go in there and do our Faro scanning and get their own measurements separate from the initial investigation with the house being empty.
So, Brian, when I was reading the statement from Steve Gonsalves and Xana Kernodle's family, they released a joint statement together. And I will tell you this, that I texted back and forth with Ethan Chapin's mom and said, do you have any thoughts about this? And she said, no, I don't. And she's been very much like that since the beginning. This is extraordinarily painful for everyone involved, and everybody reacts differently. But that was the reaction from Stacey Chapin, that she did not have the same reaction that these other family members did. Brian, when Steve said, Steve has taken the lead, but this is Steve and also the Kernodle family. It is our understanding that the King Road residence will not be demolished until after the trial has concluded. Do they have information that we don't have? Is this?
I don't think they have information that the public doesn't have. Because remember, Steve Gonsalves and his family, I think the world of them, because I mean they are amazing advocates for his daughter, their loved one, Kaylee, who was killed in this horrific act, and obviously for Madison Mogen, who was her best friend, and for Ethan and Xana. But I think that they have been fighting so hard to keep 1122 King Road right as it is, that they're hoping that they're going to leave it for the trial. Because I firmly believe, as much as the FBI, all this great Faro equipment, and I'm going to show a video about what it really does, and it's really a great technology that is available now for law enforcement to map crime scenes and that sort of thing. So it's a great tool. But I don't think even something as great as these models, I don't think anything is going to take the place of being at a scene. I think that the jury needs to actually visit the home and walk through it on their own. They need to see, because again, we've said that from the beginning. This is not a home like any other home. It's not a typical house, and by any means. It was one way and then it was added on to. So its design is very, very odd. So I think, if I was on that jury, I would want to be walking. I want to walk in the front door. I'd want to walk, all around. I want, I don't even know if you're going to still be able to do stuff like I wanted somebody to scream or say something to see if you could hear them, from the first floor. There's all these things that you would really want to see, and maybe you can't do, to hear the soundproofing as far as that's concerned, because granted that there's no furniture in there anymore, really. The personal effects are gone. There's, from what I understand, carpet's been taken up. Walls are either down or somewhat demolished in some way. They've taken evidence. So But still, I would want to be present in that home, as hard as that would be, because look at Parkland. They retained that building. They retained that building until the trial. And that was just to decide if he was getting the death penalty or life in prison. Okay, but the jury went and they walked through that building to see what Nicholas Cruz saw. And then, of course, the Murdaugh trial recently, that was another one. They went to the scene as well. So I don't think anything, even an amazing model that they can build, is going to take the place of actually being somewhere. And as far as that's concerned, remember, they also had issues stating that the house was unsafe for anyone to visit the house. I don't know if you guys remember that either. Remember, they went onto a whole thing about how unsafe it would be for the jury to go into that house. Yet we're seeing here last week on October 31st and November 1st, because they had 2 days, the university granted the FBI to come in there with their equipment and do all this scanning. They were not wearing, none of them, if you look at all the video and the photos, they weren't wearing PPE, no masks, no booties, nothing. So if this house is so unhealthy, unsanitized, why would they be in there without some sort of protection? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but they talked about how unsafe it was for the jury to go in this home. Remember, they said the demolition, this is ABC News, and if you look at the date, this is ABC News from July 12th, 2023. The headline is, Demolition of Idaho Murders Home Paused Amid Discovery of Asbestos and Lead and Objections from Families. So if you skim through the article, okay, they go on to say how unsafe it is to go into this home. And this is not the only article, but I just wanted to make sure I pulled one. And again, they're talking about how they were looking forward to removing this grim reminder of the tragedy, and that's what the school is saying. So again, I think for them, they just wanted to, I hate to say the word eyesore, but again, they're basically stating here, the university president, Scott Green, is saying, every action and decision around this horrific incident is painful and invokes emotions. So they want to get rid of the home. They want to demolish this home on King Road because other students and stuff are seeing this and they're going, damn, that is where those 4 university students were murdered. And we're looking at almost a year ago now. So, I mean, this is definitely, as much as they do care for the victims and their families and their loved ones, it's just all about the visual in a lot of ways. And again, it's all about the almighty dollar, because you have to really think of it that way. So they're stating how there's lead and asbestos mitigation inside the home, and they were stating how it needed meticulous expertise to safely demolish the home. And they're basically going on to say how unsafe it was to go into the home. Well, as far as I understood, this home is not that old, even though it's not a newer home. So the fact that there would be asbestos and potentially lead in there, I find that kind of hard to believe. And if there really was such a problem with lead and asbestos, why wouldn't the FBI that took down all these boards last week, they entered this home, they're not even wearing a face mask, no N95s, nothing. See, I find that hard to believe that they would not have some sort of protection on there. So again, it's really was all about this quote right here, a daily reminder of the horrific crime that happened there. Period. That's exactly why they want the house demolished. I don't think it has anything to do with it being unsafe. I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. I think it's just that they wanted to get rid of it. And that's the bottom line. And I have to applaud Steve Gonzalez and the family, because it's because of them that this home, they are the biggest outcry. Okay, they have Steve especially, but that whole family, they've been the ones saying, hey, slow it down. Slow it down. This happened November 13th last year. We're almost to that anniversary, but justice takes time. And we had a trial date. We don't even have a trial date anymore. There's still all this stuff going on. So there's no reason to rush to demolish this home. There really isn't. It's all about the visual. So this is a video. Again, I was looking up about the whole Faro technology. Okay? And we're seeing these cameras. It's like, they're really like a laser. So this to me was the best, or definitely one of the best out there, because I didn't go through all of them. Let's be honest, I didn't. But this is a great video from Lee County Sheriff's Office, and it shows what this Faro technology can do. So check it out, and I think it gave me a clearer picture of what kind of images the FBI can get with these Faro cameras.
Faro scanner is basically just a tool that we use on crime scenes. It's for measurements and documentation purposes, and it's used for demonstratives in court. Basically what it does is collects measurements and data for any scene that we're scanning. We can pivot through. You can get up underneath the cabinets. You can see in the sink. You can pretty much go anywhere you want within the actual scene. We will collect the data on scene and then bring it back to the office and create a 3D demonstration of the scene that we scanned. The way the scanner works is it emits a laser. That laser bounces off the mirror that spins in the center of the scanner. That laser bounces off of objects and back to the scanner. It can't see through anything. So we move the scanner to see past other objects. So we'll move it through doorways, into other rooms, so that it captures the entire scene. It has the ability to scan in complete darkness, and that would be something that would be in black and white. But if there is a little bit of light, we are able to capture the color. Being able to have a 3D representation of the scene and be able to show people, either detectives that didn't get a chance to come on scene, the state attorney's office, or even defense attorneys, it just gives them a much better idea of how the scene looked and how everything was laid out and where evidence was within the scene.
My only issue with them coming back, now again, we also need to remember they use drones. I don't have an issue with them coming back unless they're able to combine their original scans from months ago, okay, originally, heck, almost a year ago now, and they're able to combine those scans with the scans they just did last week with the furniture, walls, what have you, intact. Because to me, from what she is describing, you need to have the crime scene sitting as if it was when you entered the actual scene. So I don't feel like it's doing much justice if you have removed everything and it's like 11 months later. I don't feel like that's doing it justice, in my opinion.
Shots were fired from inside. They then came outside and exited the wall. So what we did, we placed targets on the one side of the trajectory rod and then a target on the other side of the trajectory rod. And you're able to see where the shots came from in this particular scene. And those are represented by the orange lines within the scans. And the scanner does have a built-in inclinometer and a built-in GPS. So it knows where it's at in time and space and in elevation. The scanning itself does take a very long time. If we're doing a higher definition scan, it can take around 20 minutes. Lower quality scans are going to be 7 to 8 minute scans. Typically on your average scene, we will probably do between 20 to 30 scans. So it's not a big time saver, but the accuracy of the data that we're collecting is much better. The field of forensics is always changing. We're always trying to keep up with the latest and the greatest. The Lee County Sheriff's Office definitely is on the forefront of that, and we definitely got a head start with our training and our experience with the Faro scanner. So it's been a great tool for us to have, and it's definitely going to be the future of forensics.
Okay, so I think that was a really great info on the Faro scanner. I guess it's not necessarily a camera so much the scanner, but another video I saw mention how they can put a witness, they can see if that witness could be placed at the particular location. They can, so it does give them a lot of ability to see if that witness could have seen it from that particular angle, because it's doing, in 3D. So it's giving them every single piece of the scene. But again, my only question is, how is scanning it again, 11 months later, really benefiting the case? That would be something I would be interested in asking the FBI, obviously, but the experts on the Faro, if that's really going to benefit them when they're creating these models, because not only are they creating a 3D model now, but from what I understand, they're also going to be creating a physical model for court. I don't know if that's going to be allowed in court, but I would assume so. But again, this is definitely, I think it's a great piece of technology, to see. And I would love to see what they were able to, come out of on King Road, but I doubt we're going to actually see it. I don't think the public's going to see it, but I do think it's a great tool, but I just don't understand how the fact that they thought this may have been demolished, the state was so, for demolishing it, the defense was not arguing it, the university was ready to go, and if it wasn't for the families, it would have been gone. So what is scanning it almost a year later, what benefit does that serve to this crime scene? That would be my main question, but I guess we're going to see. I just don't like hearing from all those involved that this particular home is unsafe to go into and how they wanted to get rid of it. And now we're seeing, as a general public, we're all looking going, whoa, whoa, whoa. How are you all ready to get rid of it, saying it's unsafe to go into, and the FBI is in there for 48 hours. No PPE, no masks, and they're at it. So, yeah, so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And I'm going to try to do some further research on this. If you happen to be a crime scene investigator, technician, and you know more about this stuff, let me know. I would love to talk to you about it. But that said, that's all I've got for this one. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.